Hey everyone, we're back again today. You can see the garage is clean over there. It's clean here. The car has still got the carpet on it because I didn't want to fill up the shed with that because it's just massive, you know what I mean? But as you can see, the car's on jack stands because today we're finally going to take the engine out. Most important piece for me that I actually need. It usually takes 2 to 3 hours. 2 is like you're rushing a little bit, but I'm shooting for 3 today. Should have lots of time to get it out tonight. As I said before in a couple videos back, the downpipe is off and the intercooler is off just because I wanted to get an O2 sensor for my car. If you're looking for an educational series, I already did this whole in-depth thing on my car. Today I'm just going to shoot it kind of just let you know what I'm up to. I'll show you any challenges, any weird stuff we got going on. It's pretty straightforward. These engines aren't that crazy. If you worked on an engine before, these are no big deal at all. And the reason why I'm doing that is because we got so much other stuff to do. I mean, we're only just starting to take apart this car, and the whole point is to rebuild my other car. This is just some parts, you know what I mean? So we're gonna get this done quickly. I liked the time-lapse stuff last time, and I had some half-decent feedback on it. You guys seem to enjoy it as well. So I'm gonna bring you over quickly. We'll have a short look, and then we'll get started. But today there's not a whole lot to do actually. Of course, the radiator's gotta be drained. It's just 2 bolts and it comes out. Take the hoses off, let the coolant go. I'm going to leave the accessories on. I'm going to pull it with the accessories still bolted to the motor. When I was a tech at Subaru, that's what the guys used to do. They would leave the accessories on and then take them off on the stand. And I like that idea actually. It makes it a bit easier. There's no sense to be leaning over the car if it's not necessary. Other than that, we got some fuel lines, we got heater core, just some random connectors, a little bit of hoses. Not a whole lot going on. The most time consuming thing here is of course going to be all the bell housing bolts. Not that bad, but you just kind of get down underneath the car, get back up, get down underneath, get the wrenches to fit in the right spot. You get used to after a little while what kind of extensions you need. You need some long stuff, some short stuff. I got to use some ratcheting opening wrenches. They work awesome. And then you got 2 engine mounts in the bottom, just nuts and washers. Then it's ready to pull. These engines are awesome. They're super simple. It literally is 3 hours if you're just cruising. So I'll go get the GoPro going. So I really like that actually. It performs really well. So I'm going to use that a whole lot more. Let's get started. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm just going to undo this clamp. We'll do it the quick and dirty way. Hopefully I don't get a mouthful. There is, on this mission motor radiator, actually a plug over on the other side, it seems to be. On the plug there's no nipple for you to put a hose so you can drain it nice. It would just be the same, it would just be all over the frame. So, right now this is what we got. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Alright, the radiator's out. You can see, lots of room, lots of room. It's awesome for working on the car, take the radiator out. I've heard of people doing timing belts in these cars and leaving the radiator in. That's crazy to me, I don't know why you would. It's like 5 minutes to take the radiator out. And then you got all the room in the world to work on the front of the engine. Yeah, so I'll just let you know what I'm going to do before I go back to time lapse. I'm going to take out a couple lines on the power steering pump. He's got a bit of a custom line he made up because he had a line break. It looks a bit crazy, but it's only on the return side, the feed to the pump, not the high pressure side. So it's been working for him. But now let's do the heater core lines. We'll do some fuel lines, do some electrical connectors, and then I'll come back to you and I'll let you know where we're to. Okay, so we got everything that attaches the engine to the car off. We got all the electrical done. We got the heater core and coolant, and we've got starter done. Everything, it's all ready to go and pull. I usually pull the front O2 sensor also, because it sticks out a good bit in the exhaust, and the exhaust is already tight on these aftermarket headers. I'll give it a quick try now, and if it doesn't come easy, we'll just pull the engine with it in, but we'll be a bit mindful of it and keep the engine to the left side of the car. Check it out, we got the sensor out, came out no sweat, it was like barely in there at all. The threads are actually pretty good. I'm not sure if the GoPro will pick that up, maybe you can see it or not, but the threads are good. It's a little bit knocked up on the hex end for the wrench, but it still came out best kind. These sensors are really expensive and obviously they're really important, so it's always nice to have spares. I had to use my brand new spare on my WRX. Alright, well I'm going to take a second just to clean up some of that coolant that's spilled on the floor. I'm going to sweep up that a little bit. It's a bit sketchy underneath because the glass from the car has kind of trickled down to the floor. And I haven't moved it outside yet or moved it back in because we had a couple snowstorms. So the car's been stuck in the garage. I'll give the floor a quick sweep. We'll get ready to take the motor mount bolts out. They're only a second, so I won't film that. It's only literally 2 nuts on 2 studs. And then we got bell housing bolts, and we'll get this engine pulled tonight. All the bolts are out. I gave the engine a little bit of a jiggle and it just split apart like butter. Sometimes they stick together if it hasn't been out in a long time, or if it's like a factory engine, you know, the bell housing of the transmission will stick to the engine. But I'm going to put the camera on a tripod so I don't ramble to you guys too long. Let's get this engine in the air. There we go, it's coming there now. There we go. So to clear the engine mounts. Go. Okay, so it's hanging as you can see. I'm going to move the jack out of the transmission. We're going to lower this car down, take the jack stands out. Let's get this engine out of the way. Okay, so quick overview. I think this is the easiest one yet. I actually didn't get underneath the car at all, as you can see from the video. I got every bolt from the top. I'm not sure if this is because it's an 07. I don't think there's any reason why it'd be any different, but I could get every nut with a ratchet from the top, even the little nuts on top of these. You can't see that, but there's little studs here on the bottom that aligns it. There's nuts on it, and I didn't even have to get underneath the car. Usually it's an extension and a universal joint type idea. I've actually even used a quarter on them sometimes just to try and break them loose because it's really tight. The axles are right there behind the nuts. The downpipe doesn't even feel like it was that much of a challenge because it wasn't today. I guess that would count to this whole removal if I had to do it this evening. That was a real nuisance. That probably took me about as long as the rest of this did. Just the bolts were in, kind of messed up with some standard bolts. Just, it was a bit crazy, but that's alright. I think this video ended up being even quicker and easier than the interior, which is a bit foolish because this is the main piece. But like I just said, these engines come out real easy. You just seen everything in the video I removed, and there's not a whole lot there. A few hoses, a few clamps, a few connectors, and that's it. So let's talk about the engine quickly. I actually don't have his build sheet in my hand. He sent me a copy of it, of everything that he did to the car, all the parts. But the gist of it is forged pistons, there's Y-scos. They're bored 99.75 millimeters. It was bored by TechWorks, maybe, in Alberta, Canada. Supposedly a reputable shop. I've heard a couple of people recommend them. It's got Manley rods, it's got ARP head bolts, which is kind of nice. It's got the Killer Bee stuff in the bottom to pick up. I'm not sure if it has the little baffle, and it definitely doesn't have the pan, but I don't really know if that's a big deal anyways, not for my purposes. It's got a fancy little Mishimoto drain plug though, that's kind of cool, I've never seen that before. I'm going to take everything from my car and put it on this long block though. I'm going to take this intake runner off. I'm not going to use the injectors. I'm thinking about it because they're fancier than mine. I got Deshworks 850s, just a side feed, but they work fine for me. And this car actually had a misfire, which I hope is not something mechanical, but if it is, we'll have to deal with it. But if I can eliminate that kind of by using all my running gear on top of the engine, and we'll be able to sort it out. If it still misfires after, it's a mechanical issue, we'll have to check that out. Another thing, these TGVs actually are ported. He ported them recently, but I did mine also recently too. I was really happy with the port job I did on mine. I never looked at these, I'm sure it's probably fine, but I just took a lot of time to do my TGVs, and I did a polished job on them, so I'm going to use them as well. This engine's got a Cobb XLE. Yeah, it's got an XLE bypass valve on it. I'm probably going to use that. It seems like there's a little plate that goes on it to block it off from being atmospheric. So I guess it's like a 50-50 atmospheric or recirc. I'm going to do 100% recirc, which I'm assuming you can. There's no reason why it looks like you can't. I'll have to do a little bit of research on that, but yeah, right now on my car there's no blow off or recirc at all. It's a block off plate, which sounds cool and crazy, but it's debated if it shortens the life of the turbo. I'm not sure, I'm kind of on the fence. It's a ball bearing turbo, so I wasn't too worried about it at the time. But if I got this, I'm going to run it, right? This turbo, whether it's good or not, I'm going to take it off and sell. I'm probably going to send it back to the company just for him to refurbish it, because I think this was burning a lot of oil. The car was consuming oil, but the engine was strong and solid, so I'd be shocked if it was the engine. He mentioned before that he kind of did a little bit of damage to the turbo. He overboosted it one time, so maybe the seals are gone. I'm not sure. It doesn't spin as freely as it should. It doesn't spin freely as my ball bearing for sure. It could just be a seal issue. It doesn't have any play. There's no shaft play. Nothing like abnormal. I'm going to use my clutch though. I think he mentioned this clutch has slipped a couple times. I'm not actually sure. I don't actually know what this is either. I hadn't look for any markings. I don't know what brand it is or anything. But I got an ACT with a 6-puck into it. That's a really nice clutch, and I enjoyed it a lot, so I'm going to stick that in for sure. So really all we're taking is the long block. We're taking the heads and the short block, and obviously all the internals. We're going to put all my stuff on it, and the rest of this we're going to sell, keep spares, whatever it is. I'm going to leave this video here for today, I think. We got the engine out, that was my main goal. That's our main goal for the whole thing. I'm going to put it on the stand in a second, but obviously you guys don't need to see that. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to keep going with the interesting stuff because we got to take the trans out, we got to do a drive line, brakes, and all that kind of cool stuff. I think I'm more excited about that honestly than the engine, because this is just whatever. You've seen how easy it was with the suspensions. We're going to have to get the torch out and do some foolishness. Alright, so I'll see you guys next time. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it.